The Chicago Bears have finished their minicamp period after a OTA period as well. And we're going to talk about all the takeaways from this team through that minicamp. And it's Friday, so that means we're going to dive into the mailbag and hear from you guys. All that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content today, y'all. And yeah, man, OTAs are done. The Bears get to take a little brief break before they have another training camp period with the young guys, in the future. But one of the things that, or a few of the things that have really stood out so far throughout this OTA period is a few things, right? Like, hey, the rookies came to play, right? And that's not just to talk about the rookies that we just drafted or anything like that, but like when you look at it, a lot of the impressive players have come from, and things that we've heard have really come from the young players, right? Monangai really stepping up, right? Even DeAndre Swift talked about Monangai when he was asked about him and said, hey, he's going to be really, really, really good, and how excited he was to have him on the team. Ozzy Trapilla really stood out when he got to play left tackle with the starters, as he's trying to earn that starting position, and he's going to have a fight on his hands to get that. I believe Braxton Jones is going to come back healthy, and he's going to put his best foot forward to not lose his starting position. Kieran Amagaje has looked decent enough as well. You got Ruben Hippolyte going one-on-one with Cole Kmet and holding his own in coverage. You already know the speed and strength that he brings. These guys have really stood out quite a bit. We've heard things about like J.P. Richardson, right, who's an undrafted free agent who still is going to probably have an uphill battle to make it on the team. But it seems like that moniker that the Bears got that I talked about when they voted as some of the most impactful potential rookie classes, the Bears ranked high in that list. And it seems like that's going to be something that really happened. That's going to be felt, because we think about it. We haven't even seen Colston Loveland or Luther Burden really on the field yet. So that gives you already a number of rookies that are going to be trying to make a name for themselves. They're really going to be players to watch here in the preseason. I think that's going to be big there. I think that's going to be the thing where you really start seeing some of these players step away or separate themselves and what exactly their role is going to be. Guys like Ozzy Trapillo trying to start, Luther Burden being that starting slot, right? As well as Ruben Hippolyte being the strong side linebacker, the starter there. Then, of course, guys that are trying to find themselves in the depth, like Monangai is trying to work himself as being a depth piece here for the Chicago Bears in year one and work that out. So it seems like it's been a really good period for the young guys. They're really starting to turn some heads, and that's a really good thing. And that, I think, speaks to the coaching staff. The coaching staff really coming in with the preparation, knowing what they wanted to see from these guys, and then giving these guys really an opportunity to really step up. And that's been really big for this team over this period as well. Caleb in the offense developing over the period. Like the first practice in OTAs, we heard that it was a struggle. The two after that, we heard that they performed pretty well in different areas. Still had of course, it wasn't perfect, but still other things that they grew from and learned from. And that's really what this whole thing is about. It's about getting over that curve a little bit every single practice and getting yourself there. Tyreek Stevenson having some good practices in there as well, focusing on some things. Tyreek Stevenson getting an interception, and him coming into this, he was asked about the Hail Mary, and he was like, listen, I made a mistake. I'm putting it behind me. We're going to perform better. And it just seems like the focus of this Bears team is greater than what it has been a lot. Now, that's going to feel like that a little bit with a different coaching staff coming in, and we're all kind of excited to see exactly what this is going to look like. But that too, the coaching staff has really felt like it really has brought a difference here so far. And, like I said, you can't build, well, you could start building the culture, but all the culture doesn't mean anything until you're winning football games. We're going to have to see how this team is performing in that. But the way that this team's come in and competed, the way that everybody's bought in, right? The fact that we had, everybody showed up, even the players that weren't able to necessarily perform on the field. We had 100% participation, which is really good. I think everybody understands the magnitude of this moment. And Ben Johnson has done a really good job at setting the expectation for himself and for the players and what this team wants to look like and perform like once the lights are on, right? So that's all really good things. As well as DJ Moore and Caleb Williams working on their chemistry. Romo Dunze coming in looking like he put on some considerable muscle and is ready for the rigors and taking on a larger workload here for the Chicago Bears as well. DeAndre Swift. It just seems like this actually feels like a football team that is not just hype. It's something that they're really trying to build here. And that's a good thing. The offensive line, we haven't heard really anything bad about it. The fact that Darnell Wright caught a one-handed pass is crazy. But overall, it felt like the Bears actually got something out of this OTA minicamp period. And they got something that they're building towards something. And this could be a really big season for the Chicago Bears. It really is starting to feel like that. The intensity of Dennis Allen. And when you hear these defensive players in Montez Sweat and Jalen Johnson, these veterans, Kevin Byard, talk about how complex and how many different looks that this Bears team is going to throw at you. And we're not going to see that in Let me go ahead and tell you guys right now, right? Because I know some of my more knee-jerky Bears fans, again, I always understand it because of where the Bears have been or lack thereof over years. But for my more knee-jerky Bears fans, when you see and hear things, excitement around the team, and you immediately want to see that, right? You're not going to see a lot of the complexity in preseason. They're not going to show their hands a lot with the defense and the complexity in preseason. They're not going to give that tape out. The starters are already not going to play a lot on top of that. So just practice some patience. For anyone who sees, if you see any rough around the edges parts of the defense or the defense looks a little more stagnant, because like I said, I know my knee-jerky fans, they're going to be like, well, I thought this defense was supposed to be complex. This seemed very simple. That's because they're not going to show their complete hand in preseason. They're just not going to. But when veterans who have been around this league, played for multiple coaches, end up telling you or say, hey, this is complex. We got a lot that we're learning out here because there are a lot of different ways that we're going to be trying to attack out there. Believe it. Now they're going to have to show it, and that's what I'm saying. Don't react too much in what you see in preseason because, again, we have an actual coaching staff. You know what? The Bears' defense looked about the same in preseason as it did in regular season. You know why? Because there's no complexity. The Bears just called the defense like they were going to call the defense. There wasn't any complexity during the season. That's not what you're going to get out of Dennis Allen. You're going to get a lot of different looks, a lot of different lineup and formation changes and flipping sides and things like that. You're going to get cornerbacks lined up as linebackers and different things like that. So just hold on and dig in because I guarantee you this defense is going to be very, very interesting to watch in the multitude of looks that they throw out there. And same with the offense. And like I said, with the offense, we haven't even gotten to see two of our first picks, Luther Burden or Colston Loveland out there. And we're already hearing that the offense is stepping up and going on 94-yard drives and excelling in the 2-minute drills. Now imagine what that looks like when you put out a slot like Luther Burden out there and another tight end option in the 12 personnel like Colston Loveland. There's a lot that you can look at and get from there. So I know that there's some concerns about the running back room and things like that, but if the Bears do make an acquisition after training camp, that's going to tell us everything we need to know about how confident they are in this running back room. But it seems like there's some really good confidence in there, and the rookie Kyle Monangai may have a chance. Now, one of the surprising things was the praise towards Dominique Robinson, and we'll see what happens there. But overall, I think that it's been a really good period. And I think that even is pictured by like ESPN. The Bears are one of the three teams that they gave as the best chances for a turnaround. They were right there with the 49ers and the Patriots. The Bears are right there as well. And, for the Chicago Bears, they talked about the things that the Bears have brought to this team and with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams stepping up in year 2. This is all things that you definitely want to see. But, hey, look out for the 49ers, too. The 49ers are probably going to be damn good this season. But when it came to the Bears, they said this. That's because Caleb Williams should improve in his second year under center, and the Bears added a lot of talent on the offensive line to give him better protection. There's also a lot of optimism about new coach Ben Johnson, but it's important to remember that teams with new coaches and coordinators tend to take small step back in the first year. Schutz added that the Bears have a much tougher schedule than the 49ers, ranking as the second toughest in the league, that thanks in part to a very tough division. So, the Bears are going to have to prove it. And that thing of teams under new coaches take a small step back, here's what I'll say. It's a possibility. I'm not going to act like it's not possible. But I think when you look at what the coaching situation was last year, and even how the Bears really fell apart, right? Getting most of their wins in the first month and a half of the season and falling off the whole 10 game, 11 game losing streak. So I think that the Bears them taking a step back, I think, is least likely than some other teams that have a new first time head coach. But we'll see what happens there. Overall, like I just want to see the progression from this team. And like I said before, I'm not going to get too excited until we actually start seeing what they look like with the pads on and things like that. But enough of me yapping. It is Friday, so that means it is mailbag day. Let's get into these voicemails, man. This one's from Xavier.
What's going on, guys? This is Xavier calling in, man. Hey, Haize, man, hey, look, man, me and you on the same page, bro. When I left the voice message last week, I was speaking on the whole Caleb Williams hate train, bro. It's ridiculous, bro. Now, I just listened to your YouTube drop when you were talking about Mike Tannenbaum and Emmanuel Acho criticizing him, bro. They're criticizing him for bullshit, bro. And like I said last time I called in, bro, they have a problem with Caleb, and it's personal, bro. These are personal issues and personal beliefs that they have about who he is as a player, bro. It's not about nothing that he's done on the field, bro. They're just trying to throw shit at the wall and host his sticks, bro. Mike Tannenbaum can't talk about no fucking quarterback because he never was able to fucking get one in New York when he was there. So he needs to shut the hell up for one. Because he drafted Mark Sanchez, and that defense dragged Mark Sanchez to the fucking AFC Championship game twice, and he couldn't get it fucking done. With Rex Ryan, who was pretty fucking good as a coach, Mark Sanchez couldn't get it done. With defense fucking carried him to the fucking AFC Championship game twice. Emmanuel Acho, come on, bro. Like, this motherfucker played, 2-3 years in the league, and he acts like he was, really a maker, and he can just criticize he criticized Caleb and rips Caleb to shreds every fucking time on that show, bro. So, I don't even watch when topics concern the Bears. I'm definitely not watching. Because Acho is a fucking hater. Joy Taylor is a hater. They come at Caleb so crazy, bro. And it's ridiculous, bro. Nothing else happened as far as coaching, as far as breakdowns along the offensive line, nothing. They act like all the sacks was on Caleb. All the fucking bad behavior and mishaps and everything was on Caleb. Bro, what are y'all watching? You're watching games and seeing the dumbass, horrible coaching that we had last year and the bullshit offense that we had last year when the man had 3 offensive coordinators as a fucking rookie. But, that's just all I want to touch on, bro, because you saying what I'm saying, bro. It's a Caleb hate train, and it's personal with them, bro, because the man's done nothing wrong, bro, like this offseason. They're just looking for shit to stick to the wall. They throwing shit at Caleb, and they hoping to stick to the wall, bro, and it's horrible, bro. It's ridiculous. But, man, Chicago up there now.
Criticism around Caleb is at an all-time high. And like I said, it's the low-hanging fruit right now. It's the easiest thing to do right now is to criticize Caleb Williams, and he's going to have to prove it on the football field. You can't silence doubters from the practice field because they're not all going to see it. They're not all going to believe in it. They're going to say their things. He has to do it in live games, and let's hope that he's set up to do that this year, that Caleb Williams is set up to do that in live games, and we start seeing that from our quarterback, because if we do, great. I think that's a great thing to have there. So the criticism, though, whether you agree with it or not, there's reasons to criticize Caleb. But in the media lately, it seems like more than that. It's not just criticism because of his game. It's criticism of the man. It's criticism of the person. It's criticism of the ideal of what Caleb Williams can be. And like you said, it's the season where this is going to happen. They don't have things to talk about. They don't have storylines to talk about. Everything is in training camp. These people on the national media aren't really traveling in training camp. They're getting their reports from secondhand sources. So it is what it is there. And then you just got to take that with the territory. When you draft a quarterback number 1 overall, it's going to come. When that quarterback's drafted by the Chicago Bears in their history of quarterbacks, it's going to be even worse. And that's just what it comes down to. So it is what it is. It's frustrating as fuck. Don't get me wrong, but we'll figure it out. All right, let's get into the next one, man. This one's from J-Rock.
Hey, what's up, y'all, man? It's your boy, man, J-Rock, man, ripping from STL, man. I just want to say something about the video you put up about the national media, Mike Tannenbaum and Acho, man, talking they stuff about the Bears, man. Hey, look, we in that season, man. It's hot take season. There's no games going on, and people, man, they're trying to get clicks and views, man, for their channels and stuff like that. They're not really following the Bears. They just know, the the national media feel of the Bears. You know what I'm saying? They're not locked in like we are, so they gonna say what they got to say, man. You got people out there like Tannenbaum. He was a GM and now he's not. Now he's on TV. Acho, like you said, he was a good player, but you know, wasn't like no world beater. But I ain't gonna knock him because he made the league and all that, and he did his thing. But man, these cats, man, I think a lot of them are trying to backtrack on what they said about the Bears. You know, even last year, a couple years ago, they put us out there as being the hot team to go for, and you know, for the reasons that we know that we didn't make it there, that we weren't that team. So I think now they just on that backtracking thing of, you know, trying to take the other side of it so they can save face. But at the end of the day, man, you know, we know what our team is. We follow them, you know what I'm saying? You know, we needed to double down on trenches and we did that. And now it's time to just let Ben Johnson cook and let him do his thing. You know what I'm saying? So, I believe in our team, man. I believe in the improvements that we made. We're going to do some big things this year, man. So, I'm really not going to take what the national media is saying too seriously, man. Because like I said, they just trying to get takes. They trying to get views, man, and all that. So, man, we going to rep our team, man. You know, rain, sun, sleet, shine, and snow. You know what I'm saying? And we going to be Bears fans, and we going to talk about them when they do bad, and we going to hype them up when they do good, man. That's what we do, man. So, Chicago Bears fans, man, you know what I'm saying? One of the realest fan bases around. We keep it real. So, want to thank y'all, man, for doing what y'all do, man. CBC, y'all are the number one content, man, for Bears content out there. I love what y'all do, man. Keep representing, keep keeping it real with us, and man, just keep rocking, man. Do what y'all do, and I just want to give a plug, man, right now, man, for my son, Brian. My oldest son, my first one, high school graduate this past weekend, man. I'm so proud of him, man. He's gonna go out there and do big things, and I just want y'all, man, to give him a shout out, man. So, once again, man, love what y'all do, man. Keep doing y'all content, and as always, man, it's always Chicago up for my side. STL, Bears down, man. Keep doing y'all thing, man. One.
Hot take season. I love the way that you worded that. Yeah, we'll see the work that this team is doing. And it matters that they bring it to the field, right? That's the most important thing. All the narratives, all the storylines, all everything, all that matters is once we get on the field, what are we bringing to the field? And that's just what I'm focused on now. I can't wait to get some football. We're 90-something days away. I'm just ready to be able to talk football and let that be the focus. I'm tired of all the narrative crap. But it is what it is. It comes with the territory. I can't complain about it too much. I willingly chose to do this and to cover this team at this level, which means that it's going to come with some bull crap. And that just is what it is. But we're gonna monitor it and we're gonna watch it. And like I said, all that matters is when those lights are on and you're on the field and the cameras are rolling. What do we see on that football field? That's what I'm going to judge everything by. All these storyline things are great, good and bad. It is what it is. But once you get on that football field, what are you showing? That's what matters the most. All right, let's get into this next one, man. This one's from Book.
Yo, Haize, what's good, man? This Book, man, I know it's been a while. It's been a long time, but I had to take a little break. But blessings to you and yours, man. I just wanted to talk about a couple of the things I've been hearing and seeing with the mini camp and voluntary camp and everything that's been going on. Something I've noticed. I've noticed it from all of the defensive players. I want to see if you noticed too. You notice when they talk to all of the defensive players that the key word that they all keep saying is hunt, which lets me know Dennis Allen has these boys and gonna have these boys hungry and ready to get to that quarterback, man. They all have said it. If you pay attention to them, they all like, hunt. We got to go out here and hunt. We are hunting the quarterback. On defense, we got to be out here and hunting. They keep saying it. I really, really love this coaching staff as a whole, man. And I have a very, very good feeling about this team defensively. Well, the team as a whole, but defensively, I think they're going to surprise some people because there's still, some people that have some doubts. And, of course, I still have some of my doubts, too. But I think with this coaching staff, a lot of my doubts have been kind of killed off, kind of like silenced a little bit, man, because we actually have a staff now that seems to be determined to get this team ready. on all aspects of football, man. Mentally, physically, emotionally, everything. The best thing I think that happened to this team was this coaching staff. On top of Ben Johnson, but just the whole staff, everybody as a whole. I think this staff is gonna shock the system, so to speak. But that's all I wanted to say, man. I just wanted to get your opinion on that. Again, blessings to you and yours. Shout out to all the familiar. Shout out to the crew, everybody. And like always, Chicago up, bear down, and I'll holler.
Surprising defensive. I like what you said there, right? I think the thing overall is that this staff just seems to get it, right? They just seems to get it. They have a vision that they all share, and they have a plan on how to execute that, and they just get that part of it. You know, under Matt Eberflus, it just seems at times like they were hoping something was going to stick. They came in with a plan. I'm not going to say they didn't come in with a plan. That would be unfair. I think every coaching staff comes in with a plan, but the execution of how to get to that, I think, was different. And that's the part that you see that this coaching staff has in spades. They understand how and what and the way that they can motivate these players. Even the last day of training camp, like having the offensive lineman and the quarterback catch passes, like that's fun. Bringing fun back into football. Like, yeah, there's still some criticism and stuff in that, seeing how you know the playbook, right? Because I think that says a lot. Can you go out there and run the route? You know where they're supposed to be. Can you run the route? But overall, just having some fun with it, man. And it seems like the balance is there. Like this coaching staff is going to push them hard. And I fully believe that. Eric Bieniemy, Dennis Allen, Dan Rouchar, Ben Johnson, they're going to push these guys hard. But I think what's going to come out on the other side of that, man, is going to be some really, really good football. And that's what you want to get to. So let's hope that that's going to be the case, Book. And, yeah, we'll see what the team has in store for us. Now, let's get into the next one. This one's from Tonio.
Hey, it's Bobby C. Dub. It's Tonio calling in. I was calling to ask a simple question on which addition do you think would actually help the most among the coaching staff? And what I mean by that is we hired several slew of coaches who all recently come from teams that we played this year. Al Harris with the defensive backs, and he also brought someone in with the secondary as well too that coached in Dallas. And then we also have Eric Bieniemy, who I think is year and a half removed from the Commanders, but nonetheless was still on that team. We even have Dennis Allen and a couple of cornerback coaches, that came from the Saints with him, along with Ben Johnson and his group of people, and then outside of that, Declan Doyle, who's also spent some time with the Saints. And then there's also some other conditioning coaches and, the linebackers coaches and D-line coaches. So with that said, which additions do you think will actually help us in game? I'm thinking somewhere between Al Harris and probably the what's the guy name? The D-line coach. I don't recall where he came from or where his coaching, where he was coaching from the most, but between Al Harris and the D-line coach, I feel like they will be the most impactful on the team against the Cowboys, and just being able to actually pull the pressure to be able to get the pressure from the D-line. Outside of that, let me know what you guys think. Shot time up, bear down.
Which addition on the coaching staff is going to help the most? All of them. Because we had such a shitty coaching staff that it's all of them. And I get it. You talked about, like, as far as what against other teams and the teams that they came from. I'm not going to say, I know the answer sounds like a cop-out, but for real, we struggled in every facet of the game of football last year. Offensive execution, offensive line, a running back room, quarterback, defensive line at times, especially in the run game and not being able to stop that. The linebackers and Tremaine dropping into coverage sometimes. The secondary not being – we struggled in every facet of the game. And I think you also got to see that the morality of these players, right? The morale of these – not morality. The morale of these players dropped because of the non-belief in this coaching staff and the bullshit that they had to deal with. So I firmly believe that it's everything. Every new coach that we brought in here is going to have their thing that they need to do to get it back, to get this thing back. And so I think that's the most important thing. This coaching staff, the vision that they have, and the change of voices here That's what's going to make the biggest difference for this team. So I think everyone is going to make a big difference for this team. All right, let's get into the next one, man. This one is from JP.
Yo, what up, Haize? It's your boy John Pierre. So look, I this is where I'm at. I get tired of a lot of people acting like because we didn't like go after anybody significant in the draft or free agency at running back, or defensive end that we just automatically are gonna suck. And I think that where we have to kind of, as fans, make the mental shift is that this is the first time we've had a coaching staff, probably maybe even since Lovie Smith was here, or maybe even before that, a coaching staff that actually develops players. We have never really had that. And not only do we have a coaching staff that develops players, but we got a coaching staff that has a track record for developing Pro Bowl caliber players at just about every position on the field. So this is something that most fans have to get used to. We're so used to expecting plug and play because we just are not used to having coaches that actually know how to get the most out of the players, right? And so I think that having that shift in mindset is going to be vital. Also, I think another thing that we have to take into account with that said is DeAndre Swift is likely going to have a huge season because Eric Bieniemy is going to get the most out of him. Plus, he's, running behind a much improved offensive line. But Eric Bieniemy is going to get a ton out of DeAndre Swift, out of Kyle Monangai, out of Roschon Johnson. He's going to get a ton out of those guys because that's how he coaches. So we have to stop thinking this way. And then as far as the defensive end part, I mean, Dennis Allen knows what he needs to make his system work. He knows what he needs to make his scheme work, man. If he's not tripping about the defensive end, why the heck are we? He could have had a defensive end at any point in the draft that he wanted. Instead, he went Shamar Turner. So that's telling me, you got Shamar Turner. You went and got Grady Jarrett, and you already had Javon Dexter. That tells me he really feels that for his system to work, it's all about the three technique. If the three technique isn't right, then nothing else works. So I feel like fans need to just kind of relax, calm down, take a deep breath, let these dudes do what they do. I know we're not used to trusting our coaching staff because they've been incompetent over the years, but I feel like there's about to be a huge.
I once said that fans focus on big names, but franchises should focus on talent, and that's what they should focus on. That's where their focus should be on is the talent. And yeah, some of the rumored names that were rumored to go to the Bears, and some of those the Bears even did try to acquire by moving up in the draft. Those are all there. But I think overall, like, you just got to look at it and say this, like, you got to focus on the talent that you're bringing in. That is the most important thing. If you're not focused on the talent, you're not doing anything. So while the Bears didn't get the Travion Hendersons and the Quashawn Judkins and the Ashton Genties, they didn't get those guys. You got to hope that what they brought in here is going to be enough, right? They didn't get the Trey Hendricksons, right? They didn't get that guy. But Dayo Odeyingbo, Dennis Allen wanted Dayo. Like, he targeted Dayo Odeyingbo. I like to believe that was for a reason. He saw something in Dayo and what he can bring to this team, and he felt like he needed that, and it can help this team and help on the opposite side of Montez Sweat. That's what I choose to believe. Right? So when you target a player, you do that. And the running back room, too. To your point, like, you have to trust this coaching staff. Eric Bieniemy, what they're going to be able to get out of this guys. The new offensive line as well. So I get it. We didn't get the big names that people wanted, except like Drew Dahman. We got that, right? That was one of the biggest names out there for offensive linemen. They went out and got him. But did you get the right guys? It's about getting the right guys, not necessarily the big names. You don't have to be a big name to be the right guy for a team. And that's where I hope that the Bears succeeded at in this offseason. So we shall see. We shall see. But that's my time for today, guys. Make sure you guys are following us at Shy Bear Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.